The clock doesn't stop. It never stops. Every second that passes is a second you'll never see again. So, what are you doing with the time you have right now? Are you letting it slip through your fingers while waiting for the perfect moment? Are you postponing your dreams because you think you still have plenty of time? Let me tell you something. Time waits for no one. Life is a blink of an eye. One day, you're full of dreams, thinking about what you can do tomorrow. The next, you're looking back, wondering where all that time went. The now is all you have. Not tomorrow, not one day. Now, and if you do nothing with this moment, it will slip away, just like all the others you've already lost. Do you know the biggest lie we tell ourselves? I'll do it later. Later? Later turns into never. Because the truth is, we always think we'll have more time, but we won't. What did you put off today? Studying, working, chasing that dream. Because I guarantee you, a year from now, you'll wish you had started today. Time is the most precious resource you have. You can lose money and earn it back. You can lose material things and recover them. But time, once it's gone, it's gone. You can't buy it back. You can't negotiate for one more hour, one more minute. So why do you keep spending it as if it's infinite? Maybe you're waiting to feel ready. Let me share a secret. No one ever feels completely ready. The courage to act comes when you start, not before. Time won't wait for you to decide. Opportunities won't stand still in front of you, waiting for you to act. They pass, just like time. So, what will you do with it? Will you keep waiting, watching the clock, letting the days pass while your life stays in the same place? Or will you get up now, this very moment, and start building the life you've always wanted? I know you regret things. I know there are nights when you lay your head on the pillow and think, if only I had done that. Where would I be now? You remember the opportunities you let slip away, the chances you thought you'd have again but never did. And the worst part? You feel frustrated every time you think about it. But let me tell you something. Dwelling on it won't help. What's done is done. No matter how many times you think about what could have been, time won't go back. And do you know what's worse? Every second you spend looking back is another second you're wasting, letting the present slip through your hands. Here's what you need to understand. Making mistakes is part of life. Everyone has missed opportunities. Everyone has looked back and wished they had done things differently. But what separates those who grow from those who stay stuck is the ability to learn from their mistakes. Because life isn't about getting everything right. It's about getting up, dusting yourself off and saying, I won't make that mistake again. How many times have you told yourself, I'll do it next time? But what if there's no next time? What if the only opportunity you had was the one you just missed? And what if, while you're waiting for the perfect moment, life keeps moving forward without waiting for you? Waiting is an illusion. The perfect moment doesn't exist. There will always be something that doesn't seem ideal, a lack of time, a lack of money, a lack of courage. But do you know what's real? The now. What you have today. Because the truth is, the only thing stopping you from acting isn't the moment. It's you, it's fear, it's procrastination, it's the habit of delaying your life. And let me remind you of something important. Regret is the most expensive price you can pay. It's not fear that hurts the most, nor the effort. What truly hurts is looking back and realizing you had the chance to do something amazing, and you didn't. So stop waiting. Stop thinking about what could have been. Use what you've learned from past mistakes to change your present. Use the pain of regret as fuel to never let another opportunity pass by. Because in the end, what matters isn't what you lost yesterday. It's what you'll do with today. You've missed opportunities before, I know, but the good news is that you still have the now. And as long as you have that, as long as you have the courage to act, there's still time to build something amazing. So stop waiting. The time is now. Make it count. Let me ask you a direct question. What are you doing with your time? Are you investing it to build something, or are you letting it slip through your fingers on things that don't matter? Every day you spend focused on meaningless distractions, on things that lead nowhere, is a day you'll never get back. And the truth is, lost time never returns. You know that moment when you spend hours scrolling through social media, comparing yourself to lives that aren't even real? Or when you say, just one more episode of this show, I'll do what I need to tomorrow. Those small moments, when added up, turn into years. And before you know it, the future arrives. And when it does, what will you see when you look back? Pride or regret? Have you ever stopped to think about how much time we waste on things that don't matter? On gossip, unnecessary arguments, procrastination? Now imagine if you had used all that time for something that truly mattered, to learn, to grow, to move closer to your dreams. Where would you be now? The problem with procrastination is that it feels harmless in the moment. You think, just 5 more minutes, and those 5 minutes turn into an hour, a day, a month. Until suddenly, you realize life hasn't waited for you. And what's left? Regret. That heavy weight in your chest, knowing you could have done more but chose not to. And do you know what's worse? Procrastination doesn't just stop you from moving forward, it gets you used to living on autopilot. You start to think it's okay to put things off, that there will always be more time. But let me remind you of something. Time is relentless. It doesn't stop. It doesn't rewind. And what you lose today, you won't get back tomorrow. So I want you to think about this now. What are you putting off? What's that one important thing you keep delaying? That goal, that dream, that decision you know could change your life? Because if you keep going like this, do you know what will happen? One day you'll look back and realize that what stopped you from winning wasn't the world. It was you. Every moment you waste is a chance you'll never get back. So stop. Stop now. Look at what truly matters and start taking action. Because the regret of tomorrow can be avoided with the decisions you make today. Time is short, and every second counts. Make it worthwhile. All you have is now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when conditions are perfect. What you do today will determine who you'll become in the future. And do you know why? Because the present is the only thing you can control. The past is gone, and the future depends on what you do now. Take Michael Jordan, for example. He didn't start as the greatest basketball player of all time. In fact, he was cut from his high school team. Do you know what he did? He used that moment of failure as fuel. He didn't wait for the perfect day to practice. He started the same day with what he had, where he was. Because he knew every practice, every shot, every drop of sweat in the present was a brick in the foundation of his legacy. Another example, J.K. Rowling. Before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon, she was a single mother, unemployed, writing her stories in cafes because it was the only place she could focus. She didn't wait for money, recognition, or the perfect moment. She started with an idea and wrote 1 page at a time. Do you know why? Because she understood that the present was her only chance to change her future. Now think about yourself. What can you do today? It doesn't have to be something grand. It can be a small step, starting to study, creating a plan, making that phone call you've been putting off. Small actions build great achievements. It's like planting a tree. You don't plant today and harvest tomorrow, but every seed you plant is 1 step closer to the shade it will give you in the future. How many times have you heard someone say, "I wish I had started earlier"? Do you know what that means? That the best time to start was yesterday. But do you know the second best time? Now, what are you waiting for? For someone to tell you it's okay to start. For the universe to align perfectly in your favor. Let me tell you, none of that will happen unless you act first. The present is a blank page, and you're the writer. Every choice, every action, every minute invested today is a word that defines the chapter of your story. If you don't write, the page stays blank. But if you start now, even in a simple way, you're building something bigger than you can imagine. Think about this. If Michael Jordan had given up, the world would never have known his talent. If J.K. Rowling had waited for the perfect moment, we might never have had Harry Potter. And you? What is the world missing while you're waiting for the right time? Look around. Who's truly counting on you? Who's waiting, maybe silently, for you to make a difference? It could be your family, your friends, or even someone you don't realize but who sees you as an inspiration. And yes, it could even be yourself. Now imagine this. What if what you decide to do today doesn't just change your life, but also the lives of others? It doesn't matter if you feel small, lost, or even incapable. The impact you have is real, even when you don't see it. Every choice you make is like a stone thrown into water. The ripples reach places you can't even imagine. Have you thought about how your actions might create opportunities for someone else? Maybe it's your child, watching how you handle challenges. Maybe it's that friend who needs an example of courage to take the next step in their life. Or it could be your parents, who have done so much for you and now hope you'll build something that makes them smile. And what if no one is directly depending on you? Even then, you are responsible for creating a life that inspires. You might not realize it, but someone is always watching. Someone who needs to believe it's possible to win even in the hardest circumstances. That someone might even be a stranger, someone who crosses your path and sees in your actions the strength they need to move forward. And look, it's not just about great deeds. It doesn't have to be something extraordinary to make an impact. Sometimes a simple decision to try harder, to chase something that seemed out of reach, or just to not give up can change everything. Small daily actions are like seeds that grow deep roots. Let me tell you a story. Rosa Parks wasn't a global leader when she decided not to give up her seat on the bus. She was an ordinary person facing a tough situation. But that decision on that day sparked a movement that changed history. You never know the power of a choice you make. So the question is, what will you do with that power? It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need all the answers. You just need to take a step, because when you choose to act, the impact goes far beyond what you can imagine. Stop waiting for the perfect moment or ideal conditions. Start now. Not just for those counting on you, but because the world needs the impact only you can create. Today is the day to make a difference. You might think fear is your enemy, but it's actually your ally. It's like a signpost on the road pointing you exactly where you need to go to grow. Think about it. Have you ever been afraid of something that didn't matter? Something insignificant? No, right? The truth is, fear only shows up when something is important. It's there to remind you that it's worth it, that it can change your life. But instead of paralyzing you, it should fuel you to act. Because every time you face fear, you expand.